Have you ever had a day where everything goes wrong quietly? Not in a dramatic way, not in a catastrophic way, just small things stacking up until you start wondering if life is gently pushing you aside. That was Ethan's Friday. He was 38, recently divorced. It had been a month, but the silence in his apartment still felt louder than it should. That morning, he found out the promotion he'd worked toward for nearly a year went to someone else. "We're moving in a different direction," his manager said. Ethan nodded, said he understood, said it was fine, but it didn't feel fine. On the drive home, he got pulled over for speeding. "Slow it down," the officer told him. He almost laughed. He wasn't speeding toward anything meaningful. By the time he reached the grocery store, he felt drained. Not angry, just off balance. Inside, the store was packed, long lines at every register. He grabbed milk, bread, and a frozen meal, the kind of dinner you buy when you don't feel like cooking for one. He waited almost 20 minutes in line. Just as it became his turn, someone tapped his shoulder. He turned, met a pair of blue eyes, a woman holding a small container of ice cream. "I'm really sorry," she said. "My nephew's in the car and he's crying. I'm afraid the ice cream will melt. Would you mind if I went ahead of you?" Ethan looked at her. There was urgency, but not entitlement. And in that moment, something shifted inside him. For a second, he felt needed. He stepped aside. "Go ahead." She smiled with relief. And then, something unexpected happened. As soon as her purchase was scanned, alarms chimed. Employees started clapping. A manager hurried over. She had just become the store's 10 millionth customer, a massive cash prize. People cheered, phones came out, cameras flashed. Ethan stood there, frozen. If he hadn't stepped aside, that moment would have been his. The cashier looked at him sympathetically. "Man, that was supposed to be you." Ethan tried to say it didn't matter, but his voice didn't come out. He walked out to his car in silence. On the drive home, he kept repeating one sentence in his head. "I only did it for the kid." But another thought kept pushing back. Why does it always feel like good things aren't meant for me? The woman's name was Maya. That night, she couldn't celebrate. Friends were calling. Social media was buzzing. She should have been ecstatic. Instead, she kept thinking about the man who stepped aside without hesitation. He hadn't complained, he hadn't argued, he hadn't even looked disappointed. He had simply disappeared. The next morning, she made a decision. She called the store, asked for his information. It took effort. It wasn't easy, but she got his name, Ethan Miller. When she called, he almost didn't answer. "I don't feel right keeping all of it," she said. There was a long pause on the line. "I think that moment belonged to both of us." They agreed to meet Monday evening. The cafe was crowded, people closing laptops, ordering late coffee. They talked about his divorce, about her job, about the strange timing of everything. At one point, Maya looked at him and said, "You didn't just let me go first. You gave something up without expecting anything back." Ethan shrugged. "It wasn't mine." She looked at him carefully. "Are you sure about that?" That question stayed with him. They decided to split the money, not because they had to, but because it felt fair. A week later, Maya came over for dinner. They cooked together. Simple food, pasta, garlic bread. The apartment felt different that night, warmer. They laughed when the sauce splattered, argued playfully about how much salt to use. Ethan hadn't realized how long it had been since he'd enjoyed something ordinary. They made a rule about the money. Every time they used part of it, they would tell each other what they chose. He paid off a portion of debt. She helped her parents with a medical bill. They both invested some. The money became less important than the conversations around it. Months passed. Coffee turned into walks. Walks turned into shared weekends. One evening, almost a year later, they walked past the same grocery store. They stopped. "That's where it started," Maya said. Ethan looked at the entrance. "That's where I stopped assuming I was meant to stand in the back." They went inside. When the cashier called, "Next," Ethan felt the old instinct for a split second, step aside. But he didn't. He stepped forward. With her. They married the following spring, not because of the money, not because of luck, but because one small moment forced both of them to confront something deeper. Sometimes life changes because you step forward. And sometimes it changes because someone notices when you step aside.